What up, everybody? So today we got a 2003 Mitsubishi Lancer, whatever, OZ Racing Edition, I guess. Today we're gonna do nice little strut and the lower control arm. I'm gonna show you guys how to do that step by step, because if you notice right here, you see that? That's not good. That's the bushing. This bushing right here is all the way gone. So it's all tore out and it's letting it go like this. So I'm gonna show you how to replace this. It's fairly simple if you're mechanically inclined, or if you have a basic tool set at home. And yeah, you'll be able to do it. Let me get this started for you. First, you're gonna start by jacking the car up, and then you're gonna take the wheel off. So let's get that done. Should be, I did the other side already. So we're gonna do this side and record it for you guys. Because if you do one side, you might as well do the other. There's no sense in doing just one side. If one went out, the other one's probably on its way. So let's see how quick and easy this job is. Rather than paying a shop, I'm sure that most people are more than capable of doing this on their own. I know it seems like a scary job when you think about it. Whole bunch of this and that, but it's just nuts and bolts, baby. Let's go. So there you go, first part's done. Get the wheel off. These are gonna be in my way. Big rocks. Oh wow. Well, it looks like I'm gonna need more parts because my sway bar bolt is non-existent. There's not one there, and that probably don't help a lot. Okay, so first things first, when doing the lower control arm, you're gonna want to remove, the first thing you're gonna do is this right here, which is the brake line clip. So get your little poker and kind of just cut this little clip back. And just like that, you get the clip out. Pop your brake line out of the strut. It's down, come out. Bam, it's unhooked from the strut. Next thing you're going to want to do, I already have most of my tools laid out. Is a 3/4 and a 3/4 for the strut right here. And I recommend, if you're doing lower A-arms, you might as well check your struts and do those too, because it's all got to come off anyways. Break that one loose, and you're going to want to break the bottom one loose. Right here. Bigger the wrench, well, longer the wrench, the more leverage you have. And once you get there, should be fairly workable. See if I can keep on. Everything's a hammer if you can use it. Okay. Make sure you keep your nuts and bolts together. Really helps the reinstallation process go a lot smoother. I would use power tools, but I want to show you guys that you can do it without impacts and all that fancy stuff. So if you're not a guy that has all the money in the world, you can do it like this. Two bolts out of the strut. Kind of just wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Set that all the way. Now you got the strut right here. Next thing you're gonna do is get your other ratchet. There's a 9/16, I believe, on the top of here. And just so you know, that was the 3/4 if I didn't already tell you. So 9/16 at the top, and you're gonna remove these 3 bolts. 1, 2, 3. Once you get those 3 bolts out, in theory, the whole thing should just drop and land on your feet. If you're wearing slides like me, keep your toes safe. So I mean, I guess if you just had to do a strut and the lower A-arm was good, pretty simple. Bolt, 2 bolts, drop it on the ground, don't worry about it. The new struts should come with new bolts. Watch your feet right now. Try to get out of the way here. It's coming out right here. There we go. And just like that, you have the bad strut out. Okay, now you got that done. Bad strut's out. Then what you're going to focus on right now, the next one for you, is going to be the lower ball joint. So if you can see, there's a bolt that goes through right here. So you got a bolt and a nut, and it's on a notch. So it just goes through, and it's on a little notch on the ball joint. There's a little cutout. So what you're going to do, you're just going to take out that bolt nut. If it doesn't come free, you just give it a little tappy tap with a hammer. So we're going to pull that out. And don't worry about doing the axle, taking this out. Don't worry about removing the steering rod or anything. None of that. Don't even worry about this popping out right here because it just popped out right there. So we're gonna have to get the axle to go back in when we get done here. Might be a little headache, but whatever. So let's see what size this one is. I think it's 11/16. I think that's what it is on the other side. Mind you, might not be exactly the right size sockets, but it seemed to work for me on the other side, so we're going to do it. Okay, I got one. Where's my other 11/16 going? There it is, 1 and 2, just like that. So you want one 11/16 on this side. Do another ratchet. 11/16 on this side. All right, that's a little too tight. So in a situation like this, since I don't really think my other big giant ratchet's gonna fit, well it might, you know, but whatever, I already did this. So then just take a jack handle. If you don't have a big giant ratchet, and this is what works for any bolts that are too tight for you, still a little tight. What we like to call cheater bar. Just until you get it to break loose enough for you to work it with your hand. So rather than fighting with it or needing an impact, that's the way you can do it. Nuts off. Get this. Oh, okay. Yeah, I pulled the axle all the way out, but it's all right. Pop her back in. Might have been a good idea to all go ahead and order some axles too while we were right here. Nut and bolt out, put them together. But I don't think it needs axles now. What you can do is take your jack stand. You want to lift this up and set it on the jack stand. No, right on the axle nut at least. Take your hammer. Just come in here. Let me come from the other side. Take your beater, just like that. That pops the lower A-arm off, and we'll just set this up here so we're not stressing out the brake line. So once you have this off, you obviously see the whole lower A-arm is free. What you're gonna look for is a bolt that goes in right here. So you got that bolt. Then you have a bolt in the back up here. We'll get to that one in a second. So now if you're doing it on the passenger side, remember that the front bolt, you're gonna have to remove the oil filter to get that bolt out. That's the design flaw. But it's not that difficult. So for this one, we're gonna use our big boy. So I don't have to fight with the cheater bar. And this is a 3/4. So get your 3/4 on right here. Let's get that off. We're getting lucky today. These are like all finger loose and stuff right after I break them. It's okay. Boom. Bolt out. Now, try to shimmy this out of your way and go over here and see if we can get it to move. Got the axle to pop back in. Axle's back in. Let's try to set this down over here to hold our axle back in place. Hopefully it doesn't roll off. There we go. Now as for the other bolt, this one is going to be right down here, facing upwards like this. So yeah, this one's not being so nice. So let's just get a comfortable position and go for it. We will have to come back to this because my sway bar bolt's gone. So, but I can do that. I'm pretty sure with it all together. This is a long-winded bolt. So in a time like this, if you do have power tools, it makes it a lot easier. So if you have power tools, 10 out of 10 recommend. If you don't, you can work like a caveman just like me. think I caught that, huh? Oh, that would have hit me right in the leg. Bolts out. Now you want to see the carnage. This is the whole reason why we're doing this right here. Yeah, that's not good. There's your problem. That is why we had so much slop in the front end. Don't need that. Now you take your new one. You're gonna remove this, throw that away. You're gonna set this up in its little happy home. Just give it a little wiggle. You know what? The mount looks to be just a little walled out and bent. So we got to give her a little motivation to go in. So when you're doing that, just give it a little persuasion with the little beater. And there's that. Kind of turn it so we get the front lined up. You want to put your little wrench in here. And then, as you see what I'm doing, I'm putting the wrench behind the A-arm. And I'm pushing this way to move it like this to get my hole to line up. Once your hole lines up, take your bolt again. Try to figure it out and get it. Gotta lay under there and look and make sure I'm getting lined up first. But as you can see, so far, 17 minutes, it's already all tore apart and going back together. So don't let a shop tell you it takes a month to do this and $5,000, because it doesn't. And was that the wrong bolt? That is the wrong bolt. So don't do what I do and put the wrong bolt in. The long one goes in the back. FYI. So, short bolt front, long bolt back. At this point, do not tighten that bolt down, just get it started in. Once you got it started, you come back, get back up. Get your tools out from under the car so you don't leave them under there. When you get back up, give a nice little tap. Tap it up on the front. Get it in. Don't worry about the paint. We ain't worried about the paint right there. This ain't a show car. So you kind of want to watch over here what you're doing. Bolts lined up. The hole anyways. Don't do what I do unless you absolutely have to, but we're going to hit that bolt in there with the hammer. Be careful doing this because you could damage the threads. But I live life on the edge. So now that you have those two bolts started in there, grab your 3/4. That's not the 3/4. That was the other one. Grab your 3/4. Now ratchet and start tightening them down. Okay. Okay, now that you know that one grabbed threads, come back to the front one, give it a couple turns, make sure it grabs some threads. it's tight. Yeah, let's give it one more for good measure. Good and tight. Yeah. So she's good and tight. Now we'll work on the long-winded bolt over here. Good and tight right there. Now, you've officially replaced the lower A-arm. Good job, you guys are doing great. Now what you're gonna wanna do is make sure your axle is still inside where it goes. Otherwise, you're gonna have a really hell of a hard time doing this. Whew, I'm out of breath. Working too fast. So now you're just gonna pick this old girl up. You're gonna find your hole on the bottom here. And you're gonna get that hole right there lined up. Let's see where I'm going with this. Okay, once you get the hole kind of lined up, you know, this might be easier if I just do this. Take that out, take this, put it under there. Gotta get the axle back in its home. There we go. Axle in home. Looks like she's being a little ornery. She doesn't want to drop down. A little persuasion. Pop her down on her little happy home. No good. She's not going in yet. A little bit more. We're almost there. Almost. Oh, looks like we need a 1/8 of an inch more. Just might do it right there. So you're gonna take this bolt, once you got the knots lined up, bolt and nut, go back through. Gotta keep re-stabbing this axle though. Try to keep that axle in as the best you can. Okay, once you get that bolt and nut sitting in there, oh, catch my breath. Bolt and nut sitting in the hole. You know you kind of got that going good. Another little wedge to hold that up to keep the axle in place. Oh, I got dirt in my pants. All right, now coil time, strut, whatever you want to call it. You're gonna remove the 3 nuts. Last thing you want to do is be trying to stab this in there with the nuts on, and then you can't do it. So take your nuts, set them up here. That way they're where you need them when you need them. Now this, don't worry about the orientation. It spins free. So you're gonna stab this up in your little happy home. And of course we're in the way. This is where we want this thing out of the way. Different angle. Okay, once you get it up there, do not tighten them all the way. Finger tight, just till you got it flush with the bolt. Nut and bolt need to be flush right here. Start all three of them. Woo! Drop it down. And get you a nice comfy spot back on the floor. Then you can turn this any way you want. Now, at this point is when you need to make sure the axle is in where it goes. Okay, get the jack stand out of your way now. Make sure the axle's in its home. Try to get the axle in the home while I line this up. Axle in the home. That's lined up. Drop down just a little bit. Try to hold it together the best you can with your legs. Not really, I don't recommend that, but if you have two people, it's a lot easier. First bolt in. Second bolt. Gotta get the axle to go back up in its home. Okay, first bolt's got to come back out at this point. Axle did not sit happy right there. So, what I'm gonna do now is get the axle back up in its little happy home. Okay, axle in. Start with the bottom one, not the top one. Bottom one's in. Now scoot the top one in. That'll help hold your axle in a better spot. At this point, make sure the axle is in. Okay, if you have to, when you're right here, take the wheel. This will give you more leverage to wiggle. This is just make sure the axle's in the right spot before you go bolting everything down all the way. Okay. Throw it in first gear real quick. Now you know you're grabbing. Axle is in. That way when you go back together, you don't hear a big clack, 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 where the axle wasn't always in the spline shaft. It's getting warm out here. I'm trying to hurry up before the sun comes out too much. So there's that. 2 nuts. One here. One here. Now you want to make sure you come back to your 11/16 though. The one that we kind of just stuffed in there on the bottom. 11/16 right there. What did I do with my other one? Three-quarter, 11/16 right there. So now you want to come back to the lower ball joint. Make sure you get that tight. Good and tight. Good and tight. Okay. Switch back to your 3/4. Start by getting them as far as you can, finger tight. If you've ever used a ratchet before, you know exactly why I'm doing this. Good and tight. And good and tight. Now at this point, the new bolts that came with my new struts are 5/8. So let's find my 5/8. So get these tied up top. Those are tight. Clear your tools, jack stands, everything out from under the car. There's a little baby wheel over here. Start putting lug nuts on. At this point, lower the jack down. You get the wheel all the way flush. That way you can tighten that down. Done. And that, my friends, is how you do lower control arm and a strut on 2003 Mitsubishi. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know if this helped you. Thanks for watching.